now, but we don't actually have any evidence at all that Donald Trump got out of bed today, that he shaved or was physically capable of shaving. We don't know if Donald Trump was too tired to walk today or attempt to read a teleprompter, which he does not do well on his best days. But Donald Trump's campaign positions were described on the campaign trail today.
If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act.
While Donald Trump was doing absolutely nothing, the vice president and her new running mate, Tim Walz, campaigned in 2 states today, first Wisconsin this afternoon and then Michigan tonight. In her speech in Detroit tonight, the vice president encountered her first protesters. We will show you how Kamala Harris handled that. But in the audio coverage of the event, you won't be able to actually hear what the protesters were actually saying. You will hear the rest of the crowd trying to drown out what the protesters were saying with the chant of Kamala, Kamala. NBC's Nnamdi Egwuonu reports that the protesters were shouting, Kamala, you can't hide, you're supporting genocide. And this is how the vice president responded.
Because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now. I am speaking now. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
The strength of that stare is more powerful than anything I've ever seen a candidate do in a moment like that. No presidential candidate has ever handled a moment like that better than Kamala Harris. Donald Trump doesn't have moments like that because no one who disagrees with him is allowed at his occasional campaign rallies. And so he will never be shouted at by those protesters. The vice president was welcomed to Detroit today by our first guest tonight, the Michigan Democratic Party chair, Lavora Barnes.
Our ticket is a winner, and it couldn't be more different than those Republicans. The Republican ticket consists of a convicted felon and his weirdo running mate.
The vice president began her remarks tonight in Detroit with gratitude to the man who chose her as vice president and was the first to endorse her 2.5 weeks ago for President of the United States.
Today, I also bring greetings from our incredible President Joe Biden. That's right. Joe. Deeply, deeply grateful to Joe for his lifetime of service to our nation, and we thank you, Joe Biden, each and every day for all you are and all you still have yet to do. Thank you, Joe. 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 Thank you. I'm going to tell him what you said.
Other chants broke out today. The chant, lock him up, broke out during the vice president's speech in Wisconsin and again tonight in Michigan. Chanting lock him up about someone who has been convicted of 34 felonies and is facing a sentencing hearing next month is very different from the Trump chant of lock her up about someone who has never been charged with a crime. And the vice president's response to that chant is very, very different from Donald Trump's.
As Attorney General of California, I took on one of the country's largest for-profit colleges that scammed students. Well, Donald Trump ran a for-profit college that scammed students. You remember that? As a prosecutor, I specialize in cases of sexual abuse. Well, Donald Trump was found liable for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General, I held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud. Well, Donald Trump was just found guilty of fraud. 34 counts, to be exact. Hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We'll beat them in November. We'll handle that.
Donald Trump lies to his sadly gullible audiences that every economic problem can be solved with drill, baby, drill, even though the United States of America is already the largest energy producer in the world. Here's what the vice president said tonight in Michigan about inflation.
We believe in a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families, so they have a chance not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because look, while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be my day one priority to fight to bring down prices, to take on the big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging, take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families, to take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. That is the work we will do together. And all of this to say, unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first. Because Coach Walls and I know the middle class built this great country of ours, and when the middle class is strong, America is strong.
Tonight, the vice president told Michigan voters and the country and the world why Donald Trump should never again be president of the United States.
Last month, the United States Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be immune no matter what he does in the White House. Think about what that means. Think about what that means. The man has openly vowed, if reelected, that he will be a dictator on day one. Think about what that means when he said that he will even, quote, terminate the Constitution of the United States. Because let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again.
Never again. The vice president told her Wisconsin supporters this afternoon and her Michigan supporters tonight what she needs from them to win those important states.
So in the next 90 days, we need you to use your power. We need you to knock on some doors. We need you to register folks to vote. We need you to organize and energize and mobilize and make your voices heard. So Michigan, I ask you, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless you.
Leading off our discussion tonight is Michigan Democratic Party Chair Lavora Barnes. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know this is a big night for you and the party in Michigan. What was it like for you personally to be welcoming this new presidential candidate to Michigan?
I have to tell you, me and 15,000 of my dearest friends in Michigan had a glorious time welcoming our ticket into Michigan. It was electric, a room full of fired up, excited folks. It wasn't a room, it was a hangar, an airplane hangar, and it was full of people who were fired up. I hope each of them signed up for a volunteer shift to just what the vice president asked us to do, knock those doors, make those phone calls, and talk to those voters. I'm excited. I'm almost out of voice, but I'm excited.
You've got 90 days to close this successfully in Michigan. What does the party need to do in order to win Michigan this year?
So here in Michigan, we've built a strong infrastructure. We've been sort of working our way toward this goal for a very long time. So we've got 50 plus offices open around the state. We've got hundreds of folks on staff. We've got thousands of volunteers signed up who have already started doing the work. We're on the phones. We're on the doors. We're text messages. We're doing relational vote. We're doing everything that can be done to make sure that the voters know the importance of this election and the difference between our ticket of Harris and Walz and that other ticket of the weirdos.
You've been campaigning with Kamala Harris before. 4 years ago, of course, in Michigan. Earlier this year in Michigan, when she was the vice presidential candidate running for re-election. Is there something different in the candidate who showed up there tonight?
I have to say that this is a candidate, I think, who is in her full voice. I think that we are getting all Kamala now, and it's a beautiful thing. You talked about the way she handled the protesters. You talked about the way she responded to the lock him up words. She is very strong, very powerful. She's talking about the issues that are important to her. She's talking about her positions, and she's doing it with power and strength and vitality and energy, and it's terrific to see.
And on the point of the protesters, the first thing she did was to tell her supporters that it's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about, don't bother trying to even drown them out, because the vice president said they have a right to be heard. They should be heard. It's just that it wasn't going to be during her speech.
That's absolutely right. That's the approach we should all be taking. This is a democracy, and we're the Democratic Party, and folks have a right to have their voices heard. Absolutely. We do that here in the Michigan Democratic Party, give folks space to speak their piece. But then when it's someone else's turn to speak, we expect you to be respectful and allow them to speak. And this was her turn.
Lavora Barnes, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Save your voice. You've got 90 more days. You need it every day. Thank you very much for joining us on this important night for the Michigan Democratic Party.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for talking about Michigan.
Thank you. And coming up, United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain, who spoke at the Kamala Harris rally tonight, will join us next.
Meanwhile, on the other side, we know who we're dealing with. Donald Trump is a scam.
Not every decision you make will be as good as getting a Volkswagen at the Savvy VW Summer Sales Event. 2024 Volkswagen models cost less to maintain than Honda. Get 1.9% APR financing or a $2,500 customer bonus on a new 2024 Tiguan.
Looking for a smarter way to mop? Try the Swiffer Power Mop. An all-in-one cleaning tool with a 360-degree swivel head that goes places a regular mop just can't. Mop smarter with the Swiffer Power Mop.
Quince. Everyday luxury, clothing, home goods, and jewelry at fair prices. Because quality should never be a luxury. Quince. Get $20 off your first purchase at quince.com.
Work. Play. Blink. Relief. Work. Play. Blink. Relief.
The only 3-in-1 extended relief formula for dry eyes.
Blink.
We need a miracle.
Miracle every Thursday starting at 2:45.
I love you.
I know.
Find childcare that fits your schedule at care.com.
No matter what kind of teeth you gotta brush, Oral-B Electric cleans better with one simple touch. Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head hugs them, cleans them, and gets in between them for 100% cleaner teeth. Your perfect clean starts with Oral-B.
Shop Etsy for original items under $50 to get you ready for college, even if they're not. Choose from furnishings fit for the dorm, vintage finds, and more. When you want unique items to help you feel at home even when you're away, Etsy has it.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance at each day's start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
You think those two have any idea that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash, so they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue. That's crazy. Well, not everyone knows Coventry has helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies. I can't believe they're just sitting up there, sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to Coventry, even a term policy, for cash or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums.
Someone needs to tell them that they're sitting on a gold mine and you have no idea. Hey guys, you're sitting on a gold mine! Come on,
Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything anymore.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-459-2600 or visit coventrydirect.com.
Here's more from Vice President Kamala Harris tonight in Detroit.
Last week, it was my great honor to accept the endorsement of the United Auto Workers. As I talked to Sean about this election is going to be a fight. We like a good fight. When you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for. So I'm so proud to have UAW by my side because y'all know how to fight and you know how to win.
Before the Vice President spoke tonight in Detroit, United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain said this.
Kamala Harris is a champion for the working class, and like all great leaders, Kamala Harris knows it's not all about her. It's about the people, and it's no secret. Our union was loud and proud about who we supported for vice president, and Tim Walz was at the top of that list. He's one of us. He's a working class guy. He knows working class values. He's a teacher, he's a coach, he's a governor, but best of all, he's a proud union member. And he always puts the working class first. With the Harris-Walz ticket, we have what I call the dynamic duo for democracy. Every time Donald Trump gets a chance, he trashes our union and he trashes the working class. He comes to Michigan. He talks about he's going to bring back the auto industry. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump doesn't know shit about the auto industry. And he doesn't give a damn about the working class in this country.
Joining our discussion now is Shawn Fain, president of the United Auto Workers. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. What is at stake for auto workers specifically in this presidential election?
Hey, thanks for having us, Lawrence. Look, I mean, it's not just auto workers, it's all working class people, union or not. Our livelihoods are at stake. Our future's at stake. Next generation's futures are at stake. We're on a course in this country. We've been on a course for 40 years of watching the gap between the rich get bigger and between the rich and poor get bigger and bigger. And, you know, when 3 American families have as much wealth as the bottom 50% of Americans, we got a crisis in this nation. And so this election is about taking back power for working class people. And the choice is obvious. This is a whose side are you on moment. And it's very clear who's on the side of working class people and who's on the side of the billionaire class.
There's the latest poll on Michigan is a Bloomberg Morning Consult poll. Shows quite a lead for Kamala Harris. It shows Vice President Harris at 53% and Donald Trump 11 points behind at 42%. That's the latest poll taken. Earlier polls were closer, and so we'll see what happens in the next polls there. But that looks like something is already happening in Michigan.
Well, I think it's happening in Michigan, and I think it's happening all over this country. And, you know, people are waking up to the reality of what another Donald Trump presidency would mean. It means we continue to go backwards. And they understand now. Kamala Harris is an amazing, brilliant, strong, fierce woman. And she's got a great candidate for vice president with her in Tim Walz. And, you know, they care about people. This is an election. It's just a simple thing. Donald Trump has shown us over and over. All he cares about is Donald Trump and how he can enrich himself and his billionaire buddies. Kamala Harris is about the people. And that's what this is all about. It's about taking our power back and taking our lives back. So, you know, and look, I'm not big on polls. The thing to me is I look at it this way. We got 90 days, and every day we approach this like we're 10 points behind until this thing's over.
How specifically does the UAW approach it in Michigan? How do you help the campaign?
Look, we keep talking facts. I mean, you know, Trump's a liar. I mean, Trump sits here and talks about the auto industry and auto workers. He don't know the first damn thing about working class people and what we go through. He don't know about living paycheck to paycheck. He doesn't know what struggle is. He's been spoon-fed his whole life. He was given, you know, millions by daddy and handed business after business. The guy's a joke. You know, working class people, you know, Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, she talked tonight about McDonald's, working at McDonald's. She talked about her roots. You know, Tim Walz talked about being a teacher. You know, teachers in this country have been left behind. You know, they've been going backwards because of Republican policies where they're trying to gut public education so we can have private school vouchers so the wealthy people can subsidize their education for their kids, again, while the working class people get left behind. So, this is very clear to us, and, it's a simple decision for us. And like I said, it's a whose side are you on moment, and we know who's on our side, and that's Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Yeah, I heard Kamala Harris make reference to that her first job being at McDonald's. Like so many other Americans, probably millions of Americans at this point, over the years of McDonald's being the entry-level job where they started. And as you say, that's an experience that Donald Trump knows absolutely nothing about, other than being the occasional McDonald's customer.
Yeah, and well, you think about this. I mean, and he talks about the auto industry, and, he trashes the UAW, he trashes me, he says I should be fired. Hey, put me in line with the other 1,000 people he's fired, during his presidency. He doesn't care about people or doing the right thing. Look, he had opportunities when he was president to get involved and help auto workers and help change situations, and he did absolutely nothing. He had an opportunity to support striking workers when he was president, and he did nothing. Kamala Harris stood on a picket line in 2019, before it was a popular thing to do, and there was nothing in that for her. She did it because she believes in that. She believes in working class people. And then, you think about this. Kamala Harris and President Biden, Donald Trump left workers behind in Lordstown, Ohio. Those workers got sent all over the country to work for GM when their plant closed under Donald Trump. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are bringing jobs back to America. There's a new factory, a battery plant in Lordstown, Ohio, and those GM workers that Donald Trump left behind are now returning home because of the work of Kamala Harris. And that's the difference. That's the difference. Donald Trump is all talk and no action. Kamala Harris, she walks the walk, and she's all about getting things done.
Kamala Harris on her way to being the first president who worked at McDonald's. Sean Fain, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And coming up today in Wisconsin, the state's Democratic Party chair, Ben Wickler, got his usual shout out from his friend, Kamala Harris. Ben Wickler will join us next.
If you have heart failure, Farxiga can help you keep living life with the ones you love. Ask your doctor about Farxiga today. Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections, and low blood sugar. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
Bombas makes absurdly comfortable underwear, made to move with you, not on you. Because your basic things should be your best things. One purchased equals one donated. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like...
All the pretty girls walk like this.
Is he?
Claritin Clear? Yeah. Fast relief of allergies with nasal congestion so you can breathe better. Claritin Plus Decongestant. Live Claritin Clear.
Did you ever worry we wouldn't get you to enjoy this?
Seriously, look at these guys. They're playing great. Meanwhile, I'm on the green, and all I can think about is all the green I'm spending on 3 kids in college. Not to mention the kitchen remodel. And we just remodeled the bathrooms last month.
With Empower, I get all my financial questions answered, so I don't have to worry.
So you're like a guru now.
Oh, here it
Join
comes.
18 million Americans and take control of your financial future with a real-time dashboard and real-live conversations.
Empower. What's next?
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old-school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
Sometimes Jonah wrestles with falling asleep, so he takes ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, and wakes up feeling like himself. Get the rest to be your best with non-habit-forming ZzzQuil. Better days start with ZzzQuil nights.
America's hospitals go the extra mile to provide quality health care to our patients.
We are committed to putting our patients and their families first.
Providing health care your family can trust.
We're here for the communities we serve 24/7.
No one is turned away or denied the critical care they need.
America's hospitals and health systems are here for you.
Every hour, every day, for everyone.
Learn more about our commitment to patients,
like you.
I told myself I was okay with my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms.
With my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. But just okay isn't okay.
And I was done settling.
If you still have symptoms after a TNF blocker like Humira or Enbrel, Rinvoq is different and may help. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that can rapidly relieve joint pain, stiffness, and swelling in RA and PSA, relieve fatigue, and stop further joint damage. And in PSA, can leave skin clear or almost clear.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers including lymphoma and skin, heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occurred. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Done settling?
Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq.
And take back what's yours.
AbbVie could help you save.
Gemstone product I find very versatile, very affordable, very clean install to get the same finished look of a stone product. I think it's a fantastic product, and I don't see us going back to the traditional stone method anytime soon.
Gemstone is DIY friendly, goes from box to the wall in minutes, and can be used for any project inside or out. Like this fireplace, this entry, this chimney, or this complete home transformation.
Gemstone was really easy to cut. We're looking at doing the exterior of the house.
Text panel to 59583 to see more Gemstone projects.
It's lightweight and it's durable. It cuts so easy that even an old guy like me can do it. We can all do it. This is not a skilled tradesman job.
Text panel to 59583 to get your discount code and save up to 50% over real stone.
To his fellow veterans, he is Sergeant Major Walls. To the people of southern Minnesota, for 12 years, he was a congressman. To his former high school students, he was Mr. Walls. And to his former high school football players, he was Coach. Coach. And in 90 days, the nation will know Coach Walls by a new title. Vice President of the United States of America.
That was Vice President Harris campaigning in Wisconsin today with a crowd of 12,000 people excited to see her new running mate, their neighboring Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who knows something about building bridges between Minnesota and Wisconsin. Governor Walz worked with Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers to replace this aging bridge that connects Wisconsin and Minnesota. The project will receive $1 billion from the Biden-Harris infrastructure bill. Tim Walz said the rebuilding project, at the time the rebuilding project was announced, bridges bring people together. That's why we build them. And this bridge has brought us together, Minnesota and Wisconsin, Democrats and Republicans, people who voted for the bridge and people who didn't. Here is some of what Governor Walz told Wisconsin voters today.
This guy weakens our country to strengthen his own hands. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division amongst the people. And that's to say nothing of the job he did as president. He froze in the face of COVID, and it cost people's lives. He drove the economy into the ground. And make no mistake about it, violent crime was up when Donald Trump was president. Those of you who are a little older know this. Older Republicans used to talk about freedom. These guys today, it turns out that freedom to them means government should be free to invade your exam room with your doctor. Now, look, we're pretty neighborly with Wisconsin. We get our friendly battles, but in Minnesota, just like in Wisconsin, We respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choices for ourselves, because we know there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business. Mind your own damn business.
We're now going to let Vice President Kamala Harris introduce our next guest.
The great state party chair, Ben Wickler, who I have worked with. Ben, you and I have been working together for years, and I can attest he knows how to build the infrastructure that delivers wins up and down the ballot. Thank you, Ben. So it is good to be back in Wisconsin, and it is great to be in Milwaukee.
Joining us now, the Vice President's friend, Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. Ben, it's been quite a ride this year. You've told us all along it's going to be 1 point in Wisconsin. It's going to be so close on election night. The latest poll we have now, as of August 1st, that 1 point goes to Kamala Harris. That latest poll is 50 for Kamala Harris, 49 for Donald Trump. What else do we need to know about the state of the race in Wisconsin tonight?
You could say it's a 1 point race. You could say it's within the margin of error. In Wisconsin, we call that the margin of effort. I was one of the more than 11,000 people at the rally in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, in a field, in a rural part of the state, with so many people who've been waiting in line for hours, who were baking in the sun for hours, and then who couldn't stop cheering. And all those people who were there, and thousands of others across Wisconsin, they're going to wisdems.org and chipping in and signing up to volunteer. They'll be knocking on doors, and we're going to work our way to victory, because this is a party that honors work, and we know that when we work and when we fight, we win.
What did you tell the Vice President today about what you can do in the next 90 days?
I shared with the Vice President, we're so fired up. And I welcome Governor Walz to come to Wisconsin at every opportunity, Vice President Harris to come to our state at every opportunity, because when they come, they electrify people. People are so excited not just to vote for them, but to work for them, to recruit their friends and family, to spread the word about what they plan to do, who they are, what their values are, their Wisconsin values. Wisconsin's state motto is forward. You can see the forward statue at the state capitol in Wisconsin. It's a state that believes to its core that we are not going back. And people are not only excited to vote for them, they also want to make sure that we defeat Trump and Vance in Project 2025 and put that stuff into the dustbin of history. This election has become a kind of electric choice, and people are ready to make that choice, and they are raring to go.
So Tim Walz, as governor of Minnesota, is very familiar in your state because you have these overlapping media markets. It happens inside, Boston television floods New Hampshire, and so the Massachusetts governor is very well known in New Hampshire, and so it goes in other parts of the country. And that's one of the strengths that they now have in Wisconsin.
That's absolutely right. So 400,000 Wisconsinites see Governor Walz on the local nightly news. And it's still the biggest source of news for people in our state is local broadcast television. Wisconsin is a state where Biden won by 20,682. So you think about those 400,000 voters in Western Wisconsin, that's a big deal. But it goes beyond that, because Wisconsin and Minnesota, we're both states that elected teachers as our governors. We're both states that elected people who kind of embody decency and neighborliness. It's not just that people know Governor Walz already, it's that everyone in Wisconsin knows and loves someone like Governor Walz. He is someone who's familiar to us. I had my own high school English teacher, Bill Keyes, who believed in every student and challenged every student to do more and think bigger. Everyone has someone like that in their lives. And this is someone who can instantly convey to folks that they are seen and respected and honored, and that he and Vice President Harris are going to fight for them, for all of us. That means something in a state like Wisconsin.
Ben Wickler, thank you very much for joining us again tonight. We're going to be checking in with you as frequently as you can give us the time.
Thanks so much, Lawrence.
Thank you. And coming up, grand jury transcripts revealed today that Arizona grand jurors wanted to indict Donald Trump, but the prosecutor asked them not to. That's next with Andrew Weissman.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi.
Things are looking up. I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And Skyrizi is proven to help deliver long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Now's the time to ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi.
Control is everything to me.
Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Always dry scoop before you run.
Listen to me. The hot dog diet got me shredded.
It's time we listen to science. One A Day is formulated with key nutrients to support whole body health. One A Day, science that matters.
When did I call Leaf Filter? When I saw my gutters overflowing onto my porch.
Leaf Filter is a permanent gutter solution, so you never have to worry about costly damage from clogged gutters again.
It's the easiest call you can make.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER today or visit leaffilter.com.
I thought I was sleeping okay, but I was waking up so tired. Then I tried new ZzzQuil Sleep Nasal Strips. Their 4-point lift design opens my nose for maximum airflow, so I breathe better.
And we both sleep better and stay married.
Better days start with ZzzQuil Nights.
20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise. That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Connect with a provider today at ro.co/20.
I was on a work trip when the pulmonary embolism happened. But because I have 23andMe, I was aware of that gene. That saved my life.
I managed to get the last room for $190.
I booked the last room a week ago.
I booked yesterday. Some sites panic you into booking their last room. Instead, Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to $50 a night. Hotel Trivago.
The bedroom suite, with deliberate details and modern functionality. For the indoor enthusiast. Check in at Fuma.co.
Reality check. Tough skin doesn't make you tougher.
Omnilix Men is clinically proven to help rejuvenate and hydrate the skin.
And my favorite, Correct 8 spots.
It's helped me a lot with wrinkles, shaving marks,
pigmentation.
This is going to radically improve your skin.
This has been a lifesaver.
Yikes. Leaky refrigerator coil card.
Oh no.
But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered home system. Don't worry, be warranty.
After my hair started thinning, my dermatologist recommended Nutrafol. The formulas are clinically tested.
My hair is much stronger and longer.
I feel like I'm a completely different person.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
After Homoglow cleaned our place for $19, we fired our old housekeeper. Homoglow tackled everything, from our kitchen to our bathroom, all our laundry. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
We're still going for that nice catch.
We're still going for that perfect pizza. And with higher stroke risk from AFib not caused by a heart valve problem,
we're going for a better treatment than warfarin. Eliquis. Eliquis reduces stroke risk and has less major bleeding. Over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke.
Don't stop taking Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
The #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
4 grand juries in New York, Washington, D.C., Florida, and Georgia have indicted Donald Trump. A grand jury in Arizona that was considering indicting Donald Trump did not indict Donald Trump after the prosecutor told the grand jury, quote, "I have not recommended that in the draft indictment, despite clear indications from you all that there's an interest in pursuing a charge against him. I know that may be disappointing to some of you." That's how close Donald Trump came to being indicted a fifth time in Arizona. Some of what was said in that grand jury has become public in the filings in the Arizona case this week, in which 18 people were charged in a fake elector scheme. Some of the prominent non-Arizona defendants in that case are Mark Meadows, the former White House chief of staff, who was also indicted in Georgia, Rudolph Giuliani, who was also indicted in Georgia, Trump staffer Boris Epstein, Attorney John Eastman, who was also indicted in Georgia, and Attorney Jenna Ellis, who was also indicted in Georgia. Jenna Ellis has pleaded guilty in Georgia and pleaded guilty this week in Arizona, which could move Donald Trump closer to being indicted in Arizona if she provides even stronger evidence against Donald Trump in that case. In response to motions by some Arizona defendants saying that the prosecution was politically motivated, the prosecution filed a motion to prove how restrained the indictment was. The motion says the state grand jury was told by the Attorney General's office on multiple occasions that it had the discretion to indict no one. Far from being politically biased, the Attorney General's office, despite the grand jury's interest in doing so, asked the grand jury to consider not indicting Donald Trump. 28 Republican members and members-elect of the Arizona legislature who had signed onto a document falsely purporting to be a joint resolution of the 54th legislature, state of Arizona, to the 116th Congress on December 14th, 2020. And an attorney for the Arizona Republican Party and others associated with the defendants. Joining our discussion now is Andrew Weissman, former FBI General Counsel, former Chief of the Criminal Division, the Eastern District of New York. He is an MSNBC legal analyst and co-author of the New York Times best-selling book, The Trump Indictments. Andrew, did you ever have occasion to leave out that many potential defendants in a case, especially one as big and central to it as Donald Trump?
So this is a bit of a head scratcher in terms of what's going on here. You know, my job is to try and think of what are legitimate arguments that could have been in the heads of the prosecutors. I mean, obviously, it is true that it certainly shows this is hardly a witch hunt with the prosecutors out for, vengeance against Donald Trump, given what they represented to the court. And the only thing I could think of, which I don't think is a really good explanation, is that sometimes if you have a defendant who could be charged federally and in state court, in other words, in two jurisdictions, there may be a sort of a discussion about, it's better to go in one versus the other as opposed to charge them in both places. That's certainly a factor that the federal government would consider in deciding whether to bring charges. But here, the reason I don't think that's likely or not a terribly good argument is that you have a real problem with the federal sort of fake elector scheme, which is that if Donald Trump wins the presidency, in spite of the polls that you just referenced, but if he were to do that, the federal case is going to go away. And so it's better to have the state case start and go forward because you really don't have this sort of confidence that if there's going to be a vindication of those criminal interests at the federal level. So I really don't know why they did that other than, politics or fear or some factor that wouldn't normally be permissible.
There is a line that was disclosed in those grand jury transcript bits that were in the motion, that where the prosecutor was saying that he doesn't feel something like that he has the evidence at this time that would make the prosecutor comfortable with an indictment of Donald Trump. That suggests the possibility that Jenna Ellis pleading guilty this week in Arizona could possibly change that situation with the evidence on Donald Trump.
That is a fair point, that you would ask a grand jury to say, although you have the standard of proof of just probable cause, I would need to be able to, at trial, prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And so that is a factor. Though when I was reading the submission, it didn't sound like that was a key fact. Again, until we have the actual transcript, we won't know. With Jenna Ellis, it remains to be seen whether she is going to truly cooperate. I have some doubts. I also am not sure she really pled guilty as opposed to said she was guilty and is going to cooperate. She got a pretty, what's called a sweetheart deal, where I think all of the charges are going to be sort of dismissed against her, but it's in exchange for full cooperation. So if she were to not fully cooperate, those charges could be reinstated. And obviously that could be, depending on what she says, that could be strong evidence. But if it's a real question about Donald Trump, the real issue will be, does she have sort of direct evidence in meetings and conversations with the former president, or is it something that she has what's called co-conspirator statements, things that are less direct? But that remains to be seen. One
of the other shocking reveals was the possibility of indicting 28 members of the state legislature. And I don't know, again, if we could see the entire transcript of the grand jury, we would know more. But I got the feeling that the prosecutors just went, that's just too many. We just can't take that many people out of the legislature.
Well, the same thing has been raised at the federal level with people looking at Congress and the people who were complicit with what happened in January 6th. And I think quite rightly are thinking, why are those people not being held to account? I can say in my experience, I can just relate it to when I worked on the Enron case. There is a point where you just say, you know what, there are people that could be investigated and maybe subject to charges, and perhaps you can convict them. But there's only so much resources that you have, and so you do unfortunately have to pick and choose. But it's a fair question that people have, given the seriousness of the charges that could be brought both in Arizona and, frankly, at the federal level, because we are talking about obstruction of a federal election and the state component of that federal election.
Andrew Weissman, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I will have a last word after this break.
Hey, boss. Any updates on the link road to the town hall?
We're low on production buildings.
We need more resources and workers. What's the status on the budget?
Don't worry, I have a plan. I'll share my screen with you.
Whoa, you nailed it. You built an entire city.
Love a good challenge? Build your own empire in Forge of Empires, the strategy game that takes you through human history. Get the app or start your adventure directly on FOE.tv.
If you're shopping for a home, Realtor.com only shows you homes for sale sourced directly from professionals, meaning you can trust every home listing is a real listing.
Don't all apps do that?
Not really. Trust the #1 app real estate professionals trust.
Dude, what are you doing?
I'm protecting my car.
That's too much work. WeatherTech is so much easier. Laser measured floor liners up here, seat protector and cargo liner back there.
Nice.
Out here, side window deflectors and mud flaps and the bump step to keep the bumper dent free.
Cool.
It's the best protection for your vehicle, new or
We need your support now more than ever. Go online, call, or scan this code with your $19 monthly gift, and we'll send you this Care No Matter What t-shirt.
It is your right to have safe health care. That's it.
Go online, call, or scan right now.
Right now, pet dander, skin cells, and dirt are settling deep into your carpet fibers. Stanley Steamer removes the dirt you see and the dirt you don't. Your carpets aren't clean until they're Stanley Steamer clean.
Stanley Steamer gets your home cleaner.
If you're buying traditional liquid detergent, chances are you're buying a lot of water. And don't even get me started on the plastic. Instead, join the many other people who have already switched to EarthBreeze EcoSheets. It's time to make the switch at earthbreeze.com.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting on a gold mine.
Well, she doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term policy!
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-738-1300 or visit coventrydirect.com.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that.
During our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Shop now at a Sleep Number store near you.
MSNBC Live Democracy 2024, Saturday, September 7th in Brooklyn, New York. Join your favorite MSNBC hosts at our premier live audience event. Visit msnbc.com/democracy2024 to buy your tickets today.
If you're one of the 4,696 delegates on your way to Chicago for the Democratic Convention, or one of the reporters covering the convention, I have some reading material to suggest. This book, Playing with Fire, the 1968 election and the transformation of American politics. It tells the story of the worst Democratic convention ever, which occurred in Chicago in 1968. There will be plenty of references to that convention during the convention coverage this year, when the Democrats are expected to have exactly the opposite kind of convention in Chicago, with no rioting in the streets, no punches thrown inside the convention hall, which happened a lot in 1968. The book is available in paperback, and you can get it on your phone as an audio book and listen to it on the plane on your way to Chicago or when you're driving to Chicago. Here's a sample of the audiobook.
It was about 7 p.m. when word of the events on the street began reaching Hubert Humphrey. He was entertaining the loyal Pennsylvania delegation in his suite at the Hilton. They were calling room service for food, and the crowd was getting ready to watch the nomination on TV. Then came a strange smell. It was faint, but the World War II veterans in the room recognized it. Tear gas? Yes, tear gas. Through the Hilton air conditioning vents wafted traces of tear gas from Grant Park.
The book is Playing with Fire, with an author whose voice you might recognize on the audiobook. That is tonight's last word. The 11th hour with Stephanie Ruhle starts now.
Tonight, the presidential campaign in full swing. 24 hours after their debut, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they hit the ground in Wisconsin and Michigan to shore up the blue wall in the Midwest, while their Republican rivals scramble to define their opponents, ramping up attacks on Walz's military record. And the new warning from President Biden, his fears about what could happen if Trump loses the election, as the 11th hour gets underway on this Wednesday night. Good evening. I'm Alicia Menendez in for Stephanie Ruhle. We are now 90 days away from the election. Early voting starts even sooner, and we are wrapping up the first full day of the Harris-Walz campaign. Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Governor Tim Walz, followed up their kickoff rally in Philadelphia yesterday with events in Wisconsin and Michigan. Their